Just 9 days removed from winning the undisputed WWE Championship at Night of Champions, Sami Zayn defended the title in a rematch, was scheduled to defend the gold in a rematch against Cody Rhodes on Raw last night at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, to SummerSlam in Minneapolis on August 1 and 2. What went down? Who emerged victorious? And how did each match and segment rate? Find out now with this recap to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom, Michael Bullock. Before we start, on behalf of all of us here, we want to take a moment to send a very special happy birthday shout-out to two of our dearest friends and part of our brothers in arms, Mike and Brian Keenan. Happy birthday, guys. And we want to let you know this show is for you guys here tonight. And this is our way of saying thank you very much for your continued love, your continued support, the loyalty that you have shown this program. We can't thank you enough for it. So, happy birthday, gentlemen. And we look forward to celebrating with you again very soon. Now then, Monday Night Raw last night from the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, Illinois, the Allstate Arena. And we started it off with a promo segment, which is the norm, of course. But before that, Gunther brutally attacked Cody Rhodes backstage, creating doubt about his ability to compete in the main event against champion Sami Zayn. Seth Rollins kicked off the night show proper with an in-ring promo about his upcoming SummerSlam match with Roman Reigns. He tore the tribal chief down, admitting he was always the chosen one and it did not matter whether Reigns could wrestle his way out of a paper bag or cut a promo. He wrapped up his promo by claiming Reigns needs to beat him at SummerSlam to prove he is not a fraud, and Rollins needs to win just as much to prove greatness can still be achieved by hard work and dedication. LA Knight hits the ring, interrupting the Visionary to a big pop. He took exception to last week's promo between Rollins and Reigns, calling it the same old trash. He admitted they both had losses in the first round of King of the Ring, but he didn't come out and claim nostalgia as the reason for another match. Rollins ended the long promo segment by extending a title opportunity to him after he beats Reigns at SummerSlam. From there, Jimmy Uso takes down LA Knight with a super kick. It was a little long-winded from Rollins to start, but once LA Knight hit the ring, things improved significantly. The idea that he is still hanging around the title picture and the Bloodline story bodes well for him, and that it means he is not just an afterthought. Fans responded accordingly as well, so that's a great sign for the megastar. So, nothing overly significant to warrant us, going into full thoughts about it. So, there's not much more to say. Let's get into our first match of the night, which was the first of 3 championship title matches. And we started it off with the battle for the World Tag Team Championship. The champions, the Street Profits, defending the titles against Austin Theory and Braun Breaker. Return match from a couple of weeks ago in London. And the winners of the match, 8 minutes and 45 seconds, and new, or should I say once again, the World Tag Team Champions, Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. But they didn't do it by themselves. You're thinking, oh, it was probably Logan Paul or something. No. It was Maxxine Dupri. Maxxine Dupri, as Angelo Dawkins had a set of brass knucks, Maxine Dupree low blows Angelo Dawkins and then opens the door for Theory. Theory gets the pin, gets the win. They win the titles. They regain the titles, and they do so in 8:45. The big takeaway here will be Maxine Dupree's heel turn. As for the match itself, so much of it took place during the commercial break that it is tough to accurately rate. That it was no better than either of their previous two encounters lands it just slightly above average. So I'll give it about 2.5. I would have given it 2 3/4, but the overbooking at the end takes it down a peg. But I'll give it a solid 2.5 for the rating, and nothing more to say. MF. Logan Paul, or should I say Braun Breaker and Austin Theory, once again, the World Tag Team Champions. They defeat the Street Profits and regain the belts in 8:45. Maxine Dupree, the difference, and now she is now officially the First Lady of the Vision.
Yeah, this one was a very good match. It was a solid matchup. This is about 2.5 to 3. Obviously we can't do the customary thing like we would customary do, yelling, history being, well, we can say history being made because we did get a crowning of a new tag team champions, but we just can't go beyond that. It was what it was. It was fine for what it was worth. The match could have been better, but I'm not mad at the way that it played out. Obviously, heartbreak and disappointment for uh the fans, because I think they were very high on the profits and everything else, and to see that title change hands pretty quickly definitely caught our attention more than anything else. So yeah, it is what it is, and Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give this about 2.5. I mean, it is a little disappointing that the run for the Street Profits was short. I mean, I was hoping they would get a little bit of a run, but obviously they want to tie into, because you guys have seen backstage the interaction with Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree. Well, it all finally came to a head, and obviously, in order to make it like where Maxine stood, they had to do this. So I don't like it, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna give this about 2.5. I mean, history has been made, but it is, as you say, Fletch, it's not an unprecedented crowning. So nothing more to say. Let's move on.
To put it to bed, the ending was messy, but Maxine's involvement got a solid reaction, and considering its importance as an angle in the immediate future of the Vision, that was the most crucial development, like it or not. So
not only that, but it also becomes very crucial now for Otis and for Kara Tozawa, but also one other person this could also rope into this storyline, Anthony, that we're not talking about. It's Chad Gable.
Maxine didn't forget. She didn't forget, and this is her way of saying I didn't forget, and I'm damn sure not going to forgive.
Yeah.
So, and it goes back to that promo a couple of weeks ago in London. So,
yeah, it does.
So, there's not much more to say on that. So, we move on to our next title match.
And that's the thing. I mean, one more quick thing. I mean, remember, Otis was on the verge of accepting the apology for Chad Gable, but Maxine intervened.
Yeah, Maxine.
And basically ripped Gable to shreds. So it's almost like you're saying, you guys may be able to forgive him, but I'm not.
Yeah, but at the time,
here's another thing. I mean, Otis and Tozawa, they're gonna probably be like, when they're gonna want answers. They're gonna want answers, and like, wait a minute. You told us not to accept his apology, and then here it is a week or two later, and you do this, costing the Street Profits the titles and joining the Vision. Like,
again,
girl, what's up with that?
If you remember if you remember the thing, it kind of felt like Theory kind of threw an ultimatum at Maxine.
Yeah, I
It was a
remember that.
take it or leave it.
And she took it.
She took it. I mean, even though, if you think about it, what she said to Gable back in London, other than one thing, she was spot on with everything, her criticism towards Chad Gable. She was absolutely right about almost everything
Except one thing.
one, that we did not need him. That the world didn't need Chad Gable. That's the only criticism that she said, where I'm sorry, baby girl, but you were wrong. We did need Chad Gable. And the world saw how great Chad Gable was when he fought in AAA in that mask versus mask match. That's all I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave it there. I will park it there. Floyo, back to you.
All right, park it there indeed. And we move on to our next championship title match. The Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line. The champion Sol Ruca defending against Raquel Rodriguez. Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan, as expected, they got involved. But Sol had backup of her own in the form of Io Sky. And as a result of this, the winner of the match in 10 minutes and 20 seconds, and still the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Sol Ruca. MF, Io, the difference maker. She did just enough to neutralize Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, opening the door for Sol to hit the Soul Snatcher. Sol Ruca, still Women's Intercontinental Champion in 10-20.
Yeah, not the greatest match in the world. However, it was a solid fight. Very good match. Good outcome. Look, at the end of the day, you win a match, you keep the title, and that's all that matters. And if you think about it, if you're Io, you needed to be there. You needed to be the systematic to kind of break down the whole thing. At the end of the day, you don't want the Judgment Day to be running around taking over. And this was a holy backfire, because they thought they dotted their T's, they crossed their I's, they thought they had it. And then Io blew the whole plan up. And now more than ever, this is again Io making it known that whatever happens, I am going to make sure that not only am I going to win the women's world title, but I am going to neutralize the Judgment Day at every turn going in. And the thing is, for this one night and one night only, Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne, they all were on the same page. Only for this one night, it looked like they all were on the same page. It was Io as the neutralizer that caused the blow up, that caused the plan to blow up. So, interesting, to say the very least. Nothing more to say. This was another 3-star bout. Bullock, go.
Yeah, this was, like you said, it's another 2.5 to 3-star bout, and like you said, I mean, just when you thought that the Judgment Day, especially Liv, had everything plotted to make sure that Raquel walks out as the new Women's Intercontinental Champion, Io blew that whole plan up, and that, like you said, was her way of basically saying, I'm going to be there to make sure that you don't steal anything, whether it's a title or anything, and that come SummerSlam, I'm going to walk out as the new Women's World Champion, and that all these plans you had, not going to work under my watch. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Solid 3 for the effort here. It was back and forth action. obviously dominating the opening moments until Soul's unique offense finally caught her challenger off guard and finish was overbooked, but it at least made sense within the context of the Judgment Day's consistent interference in each other's matches. Io took out Liv to avenge last week's beatdown and heat up their rivalry also. Match was a bit disjointed at times, thanks to Soul being a step off with some of her offense, but it picked up down the stretch and finished strongly. So, solid 3 for that. And then, let me just say about Soul. She can do a ton, but that does not mean she has to empty the chamber in every match. The more she misses on some of her unique offense, the more fans will, right or wrong, get the impression that she is a botch machine, a stigma that is difficult to replace. Sometimes less is more. So we're just gonna move on here. Solid 3 stars for this. Paul Heyman cut a promo on Obafemi and his upcoming match with Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell at SummerSlam. The ruler cut off the wise man's exit, entering to a huge ovation. Then again, look where we were, Chicago. He offered a face for Heyman to talk to. Heyman called out Femi for making a mistake by accepting Brock Lesnar's challenge for a match he has dominated for his entire career. Another great promo from one of the best to do it. He set the stage for another loss by the ruler, calling him beatable. Femi responded by pointing out that Lesnar can claim not to watch the show, but the fact that he showed up and referenced the names he called him says otherwise. He called Heyman scared, vowed to beat the Beast Incarnate inside Hell in a Cell, and end this chapter. And there isn't anything else left to say except Michael Bullock. I mean, we saw this during our Raw chat last night. The one key takeaway that Obafemi said was that he was gonna beat Brock Lesnar in front of his friends, in front of his family, and he also mentioned his wife and his children. The wife, you know who that is?
Sable.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said something from a current WWE Hall of Famer who endorsed him.
Sometimes it's hell getting to heaven.
And that came from The Undertaker, Royal Rumble 2009. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, what a promo this was. I mean, it definitely adds the build to this match. And yeah, there were times. I mean, Obafemi went there, and this is gonna be. I'll say one of the most anticipated Hell in a Cell matches. I mean, as soon as Femi dropped those names, I'm like, this build the build for this just literally went up. I mean, the bar was already set when they announced it was Femi and Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell, but now the bar has been raised even more. The moment Femi mentioned that he was going to beat him up in front of his family, his friends, his wife, his kids. Yeah, I'm going to say this, guys. This is no longer... I mean, this is a Hell in a Cell match, but by golly, Florio, as I give it to you, this is damn sure personal now. Great segment.
Indeed it was. There is one thing. Oba stumbled early, but recovered to deliver an emphatic promo that further sold the audience on the marquee SummerSlam bout. A great response from Femi, a big money promo from the best and brightest young star on the roster. So, there isn't much more to add, MF. I mean, your thoughts on all this? This was awesome.
Femi stumbled only equates that he's only human. That was a minor mistake. That's a blip. That's something you'll never see. Sometimes the moment can be a little bigger than whatever. But it happens. All right. It was a mess up. Simple haha. Anything, that's fine. But he recovered. Not only recovered, but then showed why he is one of the best in the game. So, without a doubt, did he make it personal? Hell yeah. Did he take it maybe a tad too far? Yeah, but does that really matter? Does that really care to the fans at any point? No. All that matters is that we saw what we saw, and it was a whole league. Now, how does Lesnar respond? How does he react? What's the next thing? Where do we go from here? That's going to be the big question more than anything else. So, nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And then backstage, Adam Pearce informed Sami Zayn that even though Cody Rhodes is unable to compete, he will still defend the WWE Championship. And based on the crowd chants of a certain superstar, the crowd was ahead of the creative here. Let's not say anything. Let's just get.
Mhm.
We'll save that. We'll save that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Tag team action. Featuring 4 men who are going to be involved next week in Dallas. Next Monday night in Dallas, we're going to have ourselves a number one contenders gauntlet match. A 7-man gauntlet match. And the winner of that 7-man gauntlet match next week in Dallas will head to SummerSlam and challenge Penta for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. The participants, in no particular order: Ethan Page, Dragon Lee, Rusev, Dominic Mysterio, Chad Gable, Joe Hendry, and Javon Evans. And that leads us into our next match, which was a tag team match, playa. As it was Chad Gable teaming up with Dragon Lee. They squared off against the team of Ethan Page and Rusev. And the winners of the match I overshot. Hold on, let me find it here. Okay, 9 minutes and 10 seconds. It's 9:10. Ethan Page and Rusev winning the matchup. Okay, it never ceases to amaze how good tag team matches in WWE are when the company goes out of its way to minimize its tag team titles. This match was fun, action-packed, and had fans buying into the action down the stretch. After a few big losses, Ethan Page and Rusev got back in the win column, and more importantly, drew some heat for themselves with beatdowns to the babyfaces, including Joe Hendry, who attempted to make the save. This worked, hyped next week's big match, and built some momentum and credibility for the heels. Successful segment. Now, I told Michael Bullock this during our Raw chat last night. MF, you're hearing this for the first time. And I'd like to get a quick thought from you on this on what I'm about to say here. Chad Gable has to win that gauntlet next week to pay off his redemption story and capture the title that has eluded him for 2-3 years. That's all there is to say on that. So I'm already going on the record, and I think Chad Gable is going to win that gauntlet match next week. Where's SummerSlam? Minneapolis, Minnesota. Where's Chad Gable from? Minneapolis, Minnesota. You do the math. Solid 3 stars for the effort on this. Not much more. MF, Ethan Page, and Rusev, they got the win. They got the win in 9-10. But I believe next week, Chad Gable's winning that gauntlet and going to SummerSlam for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship.
It's possible, and I know you would think so. However, Penta is a babyface. I don't know if you give Gable the moment yet. I mean, it would be great, but I still think you can go another avenue. I think Ethan gets the shot. Because, believe it or not, Ethan Page is probably the best chance to possibly unseat Penta at SummerSlam. Now, don't get me wrong. It would be great. It would be amazing to see them win the title or to see Chad get the belt at SummerSlam. Hometown hero, give him the moment, whatever. I don't know if that's going to be where we're going here. So, just my thoughts and my thoughts alone. I really got nothing more to say. 3 stars. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 3 stars. I'm gonna give this one as well. I mean, the thing is, I mean, here's where I stand on this. I mean, who do I go with? To me, I gotta go with Florio on this one because, like you said, and the thing is, we've seen baby faces facing baby faces before, and let's not forget, like Florio said, Chad Gable's from Minnesota. Where's SummerSlam? In Minnesota. I mean, imagine him winning the Intercontinental Championship, the one title that has eluded him, and to do that not only in his hometown but at the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. That would be the ultimate redemption for Chad Gable with everything that he's done, especially with the whole being the OG El Grande Americano and how he's trying to redeem himself. This would be the ultimate way to conclude that. So, but I wouldn't rule out what Fletch said. So we'll see where they go with this. It'll be telling come next week. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio. 3 stars.
And one other name that we need to keep an eye on, Rusev. Let's not rule out Rusev, gentlemen. Let's not rule him out. So, but we'll see what happens. All right. Next week, Monday Night Raw will be live from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, the home of the Dallas Mavericks and the Dallas Stars. And we got a pretty good show coming up next week, gentlemen. That aforementioned 7-man gauntlet match where the winner gets to challenge Penta for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. Io Sky will go one-on-one with Roxanne Perez. And we got the alpha male of our species, the beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. He's going to be in Dallas. And also in Dallas, the heavyweight champion of the world, the OTC, Roman Reigns. Shaping up for another goodie in Dallas, gentlemen. No doubt. All right, now, main event of the evening. The undisputed WWE Championship. The champion, Sami Zayn, originally was scheduled to defend the title against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, because of Cody Rhodes defeating main event Jey Uso this past Friday night on SmackDown in Atlantic City. Cody got taken out by Gunther as the show started. The doctors did not give Cody the green light. They said that the doctor said, I cannot sign off on him. So Cody is out. But Adam Pearce promised that there would be a championship match on Raw in Chicago. And who answered that call? None other than the Second City Savior. His first appearance since the night after WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw. Ironically, when he had a segment with the then champion, Cody Rhodes. Remember the words, you never know when a championship opportunity may fall from the sky. Well, guess what? That championship opportunity did indeed fall from the sky for the one and the only CM Punk. So it was Sami Zayn defending the undisputed WWE Championship, not against Cody Rhodes, but CM Punk. And the winner of the match in 20 minutes. 20 minutes and 10 seconds. And new, or should I say once again, the WWE Champion, CM Punk. MF, it's only fitting you started off. I think now we can hear those magic words, Monsoon.
Yes, indeed. And it is deserving. History made, unprecedented crowning. CM Punk is the new World Wrestling Entertainment Heavyweight Champion. Unbelievable moment, an unbelievable win for CM Punk. And, you know, I'm going to say this. It comes with a double barrel because, for one, yes, Punk is the champion, but for two, you got some people who are very upset right now because CM Punk made some comments basically saying that he wasn't making friends, he was doing it for the money and for the business this time around. And a lot of people are jumping on Punk for his hypocrisy that he did on taking down Sami Zayn and leaving Sami with a 9-day WWE Championship reign. Now, I get it. There are some fans out there that are upset. Sami didn't get a fair shake. Sami didn't get an opportunity to grow as a champion. The thing is this. If there was one guy that maybe could soften the blow of Sami, it's the best in the world. Because if this would have been Cody, fans would have been all over this. If Cody would have won this belt, there would have been a massive outrage by the WWE Universe and by IWC fans around the world. But the reason why this is more legible is because look at who it is. CM Punk has always been a man that marches to the beat of his own drummer and doesn't give a damn about authority, about righteousness, about anything. He's only been straight edge about his entire career and doesn't make any apologies or nothing for no one. He's the only one that can get away with this. And I know there's some fans who are up in arms because they're like, oh, he's being like another Hogan. No. Punk has always been himself. He doesn't give a damn. You honestly think he cared about Sami's reign as champion? No. And thus, that's why he did what he did. He talks about opportunities. He talked about a shot. And oh, by the way, by becoming the WWE champion, he now becomes property of SmackDown. Officially, he becomes property of SmackDown. And that's the ultimate goal. They wanted Punk on SmackDown. How do you get CM Punk to come to the Blue Brand? By making him the WWE champion. Now he has to move. Now he's got to go. He goes to SmackDown. Now you can finally do what you want. Everybody talked about that they wanted to do Sami versus Punk. Cody versus Punk for SummerSlam. That was the be all to end all. Now you get the moment. Now you get that fight. Now you get the match. And CM Punk can turn around and be like, yeah, Sami was the champion, but I'm the best in the world. I am better than Sami Zayn, and proved it in the ring. He didn't take a shortcut. He didn't cheat to win. He beat him in the center of the ring, 1, 2, 3. He played by Sammy's overzealousness and his darn lack of experience under the bright lights in the big moment. I'm sorry, Sammy, you choked. And I got no sympathy for you right about now. And I don't give a damn about you, Sami Zayn fans. I don't care about Kevin Owens. I don't care about Becky Lynch. I don't care about Jack Perry. I don't care about all you morons who's crying foul over Sami Zayn losing the belt. I got zero sympathy for you right about now. So that's where I stand on the whole thing. Do I feel bad that Sammy lost the belt? Yes. But did it have to happen? Yes. Because it's necessary. It needed to be done. And I got to give a lot of credit and a lot of gumption to the WWE, to Triple H and the boys for pulling that trigger because, quite frankly, I know why they gave Sami Zayn that title. It's because they wanted a feel-good moment story because he was in Saudi Arabia. You could have done that at WrestleMania. But no, you wanted to do it then. You wanted to pull the trigger then. Okay, fine. You did it. Congratulations. You became WWE champion for 9 days. And and the thing is, I was harping on the fact that he never should have been champion in the first place, and I'm glad he lost the belt last night. Zero sympathy, too bad, so sad. 4 stars, fight of the night, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Oh, my brother. Oh, testify. Whew. Man, I don't know how in the world am I going to follow what Fletch just said? I don't even know if I can. I don't even know if I want to even try. But all I got to say is, Fletch, I cannot remember the last time you were all over somebody who was your favorite wrestler and Becky Lynch. I can't even remember. I'm sure somewhere Becky right now is probably like, oh, you wanted to berate me because I was showing sympathy for Sami Zayn? You say you're my biggest fan? Well, if you're my biggest fan, then why don't you just stick up for what I did to defend Sami Zayn? But Becky, do you want to mess with a cerebral viper in good old MF Michael Fletcher after what he just did? Need I say more? I agree with. I mean, it's a 4-star match. It's the fight of the night, hands down, and like Fletch said, it softens the blow because it's CM Punk, and CM Punk won the title cleanly. And there's also, and Fletch even said it, he was going to go to SmackDown. So in order for him to go to SmackDown, he had to win the championship. Now, if Cody had won the title, then I would agree with the fans being all up in arms. But to those people who are upset about it, like Fletch said, too bad, so sad. You didn't get what you wanted? You know what? You can go F yourselves. So, that's all I got to say. It's yours, Florio. And I, like Fletch said, I give credit to WWE for this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. CM Punk returned from nearly 3 months away, walked right back into the main event of Raw, and defeated Sami Zayn to win the undisputed WWE Championship in front of his friends and his family in Chicago. I mean,
and that's the other
moment.
thing too. It's Chicago. They had to do this.
There was no other option. There was absolutely, positively no other option. So, anyways, the Best in the World's triumphant return capped off a brilliant, competitive, red-hot main event that saw him pushed to the brink by Sami Zayn. The last real good guy was spectacular, even dipping into Punk's moveset to nearly beat him on 2 different occasions. Ultimately, though, it was Punk who overcame Sammy's arsenal to deliver his own Helluva Kick and put him away with the GTS. Fantastic match. It sets up what feels like an inevitable SummerSlam main event with Cody Rhodes. After all, the straight-edge superstar took advantage of a championship opportunity that, quote-unquote, dropped out of the sky. And the American Nightmare is due a title match after beating Jey Uso on SmackDown. 4 to 4.25 stars. It was the fight of the night. I do have one small question, though. The question now is what it all means for Sami Zayn, who emerged as an unlikely champion amid a heel push. Does he fall back into the mid-card? Or is his time at the top of the card only momentarily halted? These next few weeks are going to be very telling and very interesting to see how that all plays out. CM Punk worked this match like a guy who had not been out of action for so long. He didn't miss a beat. And it went exactly as expected the moment Cody was revealed as unable to compete. Further proof that going with the sensible, predictable path is not always a bad thing. And MF said everything that needed to be said. The Sammy thing was only for a moment. That's all it was. They wanted a moment. Enough said there. And if it had been Cody, well, he would have been, he would have been booed out of the building. There would have been a damn near riot if we know Chicago the way we do. They don't call it the IWC capital of the world for nothing, And they did the right thing, giving the title to CM Punk. And Friday night in Oklahoma City, oh yeah, we're gonna have a very close eye on that. You better believe it. So 4 to 4.25 stars. This was the fight of the night, hands down, no doubt about it. So not much more. Michael Bullock, let's get your overall thoughts on last night's Monday Night Raw from the IWC capital of the world, Chicago.
Well, I thought it was a good show. I mean, it was in Chicago. They needed to do a good show, and that's what we got here. And I'm gonna give this maybe in excess of about 7.5 to 8, because and what really helped, because that crowd was literally into it, especially during the main event, especially when it was revealed that CM Punk was the one that was challenging Sami Zayn. So yeah, 7.5 to 8. It's yours, Florio.
If I had to put a letter grade on this show, it would be a solid A. I'll get to that in a moment. The MVP of last night's show was CM Punk. There was no other option here. Punk returned last night and picked up right where he left off at WrestleMania with another extraordinary in-ring performance. He then left with the top prize in WWE. In the process, he set up a huge SummerSlam main event with Cody Rhodes and left no doubt that he is one of the cornerstones of this current WWE product. Solid A would be my letter grade for this. 2 promo segments. Seth Rollins and LA Knight and Paul Heyman and Obafemi did a great job of building the SummerSlam and the and the overarching storyline of Cody's injury and removal from the main event elevated this episode. Punk's return and the quality of his match put it on another level. There was little else to write home about from an in-ring perspective, but the entire broadcast was centered around the Sami Zayn title defense and the mystery man who would step in for Cody Rhodes. That it was paid off so well, earned this a higher than normal rating. I'm going to give this in excess of 8 to 8.25 out of 10. So, yeah, very good show. A more than satisfying outcome. I'm going to miss CM Punk on Raw. The only thing I can say, MF, as he goes over to SmackDown, you better take damn good care of him.
Oh, trust me. I'm pretty sure the Blue Brand will take very good care of the WWE champion. So, no, don't worry. Whenever you're the WWE champion, you will be treated with the utmost respect and the utmost decency. So, trust me, The Second City Savior will feel right at home on the blue brand on starting on Friday night. He will be fine. He will be good. I'm almost certain. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, this was a solid show. I thought they did a really good job with it. 8 out of 10 is my official rating for the show as well. It could have, it was solid throughout the night, and the show flowed really well. You know, for a 2.5 hour show in Chicago, not bad. I thought they did a really good job with it. So nothing more to add. Anthony, let's get into NXT.
By the way, this NXT was actually a taped show. They taped this show last Tuesday night after last week's live NXT because of the obviously the 4th of July.
For the July
weekend. They wanted to get the talent off. Yep. So, anywho, the NXT landscape has shifted considerably in the wake of the Great American Bash, and now the build begins to the next premium live event on the CW, Heat Wave, which will take place on Sunday night, August the 30th. Kendall Gray faced her first test as NXT Women's Champion when she defended against Natty Neidhart, a formidable force from WWE's main roster with a long list of accolades to her credit. A win over the multi-time champ would go a long way in establishing Kendall as the new female face of NXT. A fresh batch of contenders were crowned when 2 fatal 4-way matches determined the next challengers to the NXT Tag Team Champions, The Vanity Project, and NXT Women's North American Champion, Zarya. In other action, Shiloh Hill looked to keep his momentum rolling as he battled Nico Vance one-on-one. And with that, let's get into NXT. We started it off with, well, as I call it, the revolving door segment. You had Callie Armstrong in the ring, and she was interrupted by both Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan. And no official announcement on where this is headed, but it's safe to assume the 3 of them will meet in a number 1 contenders triple threat match sometime soon. Very much a basic opening segment with the usual revolving door of promos. None of the women were given a ton of time to talk, so none of them were able to stand out. It's smart to give Callie Armstrong more reps on the mic if she's going to be a player in this division. She did just fine, and she's well on her way to superstardom if she can continue to improve. And Lola's move to the main roster has got to be imminent. It's slightly surprising she's sticking around for a little longer, but perhaps they want her to get her title rematch out of the way first and put over some other women on her way out. So we're just going to leave it at that. First up, Fatal 4-Way, number 1 contenders match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Cutler James and Osiris Griffin of Dark State. Bronco Nima and Lucien Price, OTM. Sean Legacy, Dorian Van Dux, and Uriah Connors and Channing Stacks Lorenzo of the Birthright. The winners of the match in 10 minutes and 20 seconds. And the number 1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championship, Sean Legacy and Dorian Van Dux. Well, and they are going to challenge Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes of the Vanity Project for those titles next week. As depleted as NXT's tag team division is, it's matches like this that serve as a reminder of how fun tag team wrestling can be when given the time to shine. Everyone came away looking good, and Legacy and Van Dux are off to a strong start as a team. The crowd was into all of the action, but especially down the stretch. This was a quality clash of styles, and that should once again be the case when Legacy and Van Dux take on the Vanity Project for the tag titles next week. There really is not a reason for Saquon Sugar's feud with Darkstate to continue after he decisively defeated Dion Lennox at the Great American Bash. But I guess there isn't much else for them to do at the moment, I guess. So 3 3.25 for this. And if Dorian Van Dux looks familiar to those of you who follow LFG like I do, it's because he does. Dorian Van Dux is LFG Season 3 standout Mike DeRuiter. And I watch the show religiously. I watch it every Sunday night at 10 on A&E. And let me tell you, DeRuiter is one of those guys that they've had their eye on, and he's gotten quite a few showcases on that show. So I'm very happy that he got an opportunity because he is a solid young talent, and him and Legacy. Who knows? They could end up winning the titles next week. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But we'll have to wait and see on that. So that's next week. So excuse me, 3 to 3.25 for this. So not much more. MF. Well, a fresh team. Sean Legacy and Dorian Van Dukes, aka Mike DeRuiter from LFG. Golden opportunity. They get the tag title shot next week.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting to see. I'm thoroughly impressed with everything that went down. So yeah, absolutely. It's gonna get very interesting to see how you can handle the whole situation. And yeah, I'll give it 3 stars. So yeah, nothing more. Bullock, go.
Yeah, 3 stars for me as well. I mean, this was definitely a solid way to start. And yeah, for this young tag team, I mean, this is going to be a huge opportunity for them to try to become the NXT Tag Team Champions next. I mean, somewhere down the line. So will it happen? Well, we'll find out. But nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
That tag title match is next week. So it's not somewhere down the road. It's next week. So we'll see what happens there. Next up, Keanu Carver, one-on-one with Tank Ledger. Keanu Carver winning the match, 4 minutes, 47 seconds. So we're going to bypass this. We're going to call this a cutout here. Even though it was what it needed to be to get Keanu Carver back on track, coming off his back-to-back losses to EK Prosper, it allowed him to reestablish his dominance and take out someone that can easily afford the loss. There was not anything out of the ordinary about what was a fairly standard squash for Carver, but to his credit, Carver played his role well. And Carver desperately needed this win to avoid losing the momentum he has right now. Presumably, he will avenge those losses to Prosper eventually. So this was a solid step in the right direction. And Tank Walker didn't return to attempt to get revenge on Carver for what Carver did to him at the Great American Bash. So it's possible that's still coming as well. Or should I say Hank Walker? I'm sorry. Hank Walker didn't return to attempt to get revenge on Keanu Carver. But it was probably like a 2.25 or so at best. We are going to get into this, though. The other big number one contenders match, Fatal 4-Way. A lot of backstage stuff. And then we had a Fatal 4-Way number one contenders match for the NXT Women's North American Championship. Lizzie Rain versus Thea Hale versus Izzy Dame versus Layla Diggs. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 55 seconds of on-air time, and the number one contender for the NXT Women's North American Championship. We got a theme of the night here, guys. Another Season 3 LFG standout, Layla Diggs. Yeah, you heard me. Layla Diggs wins the match in 10:55. MF, here's another LFG standout, Layla Diggs. I'm telling you, I've seen this baby girl. She's gotten quite a few showcases, and
I will say this.
wow.
I will say this. I've seen Layla Diggs, so I know her body of work as well. So yeah, Anthony, I actually do it. I think there was like one episode of LFG that I saw, and she was on it, and yeah, she's good as advertised. This was a solid match. This was about 2.5 star mount. Really nothing more to add. Could have been better, but hey, another great showcase fight. And I'm loving the fact that they're putting more of the LFG guys out there. They're letting us see them. You know, if you watch the A&E show, and now you're starting to see what they're made of, it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better, folks. I mean it. I truly believe it. Nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. It's yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this 2.5 stars as well. And like you said, I mean, this has been the theme. LFG standouts going over. And let's not forget also, Layla Diggs is part of that new faction that Natty Neihart has formed.
The Dungeon.
So this is a big moment for Layla Diggs. I mean, but the only problem is she's got to deal with the current champion, Zarya, who is on an absolute tear right now. So, yeah, enjoy your moment, Layla, because I hate to say this, baby girl, you're at the right place at the wrong time. Because I hate to say this, I think Zarya's gonna have a field day with her and basically show her why she's the most dominant champion right now in NXT. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
A small agree to disagree here. I agree that Zarya will win, but I think Layla is going to give her more of a fight than you think. I could see Layla getting at least one, maybe two hope spots during that match. I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, Bullock, you're absolutely right. Zarya will successfully defend the North American Championship. Anyways, as far as the match is concerned, this was similar to the other Fatal 4-Way we got earlier in the show, in that it was all action, just better. These four ladies worked really well together, ensured that there was never a dull moment. Some highlights included Thea Hale leaping off the top rope to the outside, Hale and Diggs simultaneously hitting splashes in the middle of the ring, and Rain connecting with a double cutter. Diggs' athleticism also stood out throughout the bout. Layla Diggs is the freshest face of the four, so it's admirable that they would run with her as the next challenger to the title. Of course, she won't stand a chance against Zarya when the title's up for grabs, but it will give her another opportunity to showcase her skills against a notable name one-on-one. All of these women have been regulars in the Women's Speed Championship division as of late, so it's nice to see them fighting for something more meaningful for a change. And Lizzie Rain's finisher is still a thing of beauty, even a few months removed from her debut. But the one she hit on Thea Hale was not quite her best. But that said, the moonsault Layla Diggs won with, practically flawless. So this was, I'll give this 3 1/4, teetering on 3.5. Very good match. A vignette aired. We were wondering what Nikki Blackheart's WWE name was going to be. She's now going to be known as Reina Vulcan, indicating she might soon factor into that North American women's title picture. Could you imagine her and Zarya? Whoo. There's a woman fight right there.
She is as good as advertised. I was a little on the fence about the name, but her wrestling ability is unmatched. Zarya and her is gonna feed families, as my good friend Jake Turner would say.
Absolutely. Okay. Another promo segment. Tavion Heights called out Miles Bourne and apologized to him for not acting like a brother after failing to beat him for the North American Championship at the Great American Bash. Instead, he got the Vanity Project, who blamed him for costing Jackson Drake a recent win. Drake told Heights he would have gotten the job done against Bourne had it been him in there and not Heights. As you would expect, Vanity Project started beating down on Heights before Miles made the save. It felt like where Heights might finally turn on Bourne, but evidently not, as they stood tall to close the segment. That has to be where these never-ending interactions between Bourne and Heights are leading, so perhaps they're saving it for after the looming tag team match. And NXT's talking segments are so quick that they're never truly given time to breathe. Sure, it accomplished what it needed to, but it was so rushed that it was hard to be left interested in the T's tag team match. And Heights just won't get over Bourne, it seems, despite falling short on multiple occasions. At this point, they're simply dragging out the inevitable. And it was odd that Mason Rook would not immediately target Vanity Project after they outnumbered him and got the better of him last week. You'd think he would have showed up to give Tavion and Miles an extra advantage. Next up, we had Shiloh Hill squaring off against Nico Vance. And the winner of the match, 4 minutes and 42 seconds, Nico Vance picks up the win here. Okay. They had a bit of a competitive bout in the time they were allotted. Hill had the upper hand until Tristan Angel showed up at ringside to ensure Nico emerged victorious. Shiloh Hill has been heavily protected in recent months, so Vance beating him, even if it was tainted, was notable. We'll see if that actually amounts to anything for Nico Vance in the long run. And what's the point of Hill and Angels running it back? This is another storyline that should have ended at the Great American Bash. There's little for either of them to gain from continuing to work with each other. Even though Tristan Angel's theme of the night, another LFG standout, Nathaniel Cranton. And post-match, Shawn Spears laid out Nico Vance with a chair, a nice callback to his chairman gimmick in AEW. Real question is whether he will resurrect his Perfect 10 persona next. Ty Dillinger. We're hoping for it. Okay. Next week on NXT, it's back to a live show next week. Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, Callie Armstrong, triple threat match. Vanity Project versus Dorian Van Dukes and Sean Legacy for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Zarya defending the Women's North American Championship versus Layla Diggs. And Naraku one-on-one with Tate Wilder. Another LFG standout. Tate Wilder. Yes, he is. Main event. NXT Women's Championship on the line. The champion, Kendall Gray. Ren Sinclair in her corner. Defending against Natty Neidhart. She had the Evolve Women's Champion, Nikita Lyons. And the beautiful Carmen Petrovic in her corner, the dungeon. When all was said and done, winner of the match. In 9 minutes and 5 seconds of on-air time. And still the NXT Women's Champion. No big surprise here. It was Kendall Gray. But after the match was over, Jada Parker comes out. And then Lola Vice, Callie Armstrong, Kalani Jordan. Oh, boy. A lot of chaos at the end of this one. So I believe Michael Bullock gets this one here. So Bullock, Kendall Gray, still the NXT Women's Champion. She defeats Natty in 9:05, and then all hell broke loose. Jada Parker showed up. Lola Vice showed up. Callie Armstrong, Kalani Jordan. All hell broke loose to end the show.
Yeah, 2.5 to 3 is for this match here, and no surprise with the outcome. And I think Natty and Jada Parker are going to run it back eventually. And obviously, with the other three coming out, those three who are going to be in that match next week, they want to be the ones to face off against Kendall. So we'll see what happens there. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, we shall see. And Natty has had no shortage of shots at the NXT Women's Championship dating back to 2014. This was more about whether Kendall Gray would be able to retain her title in her first defense than it was about Natty, though. Kendall Gray has gelled well with just about everyone she has shared the ring with since arriving in NXT, and Natty was no exception. This had a ton of submissions and smooth transitions, two things both women are exceptionally skilled at. Natty had Nikita Lyons and Carmen Petrovic in her corner, but they were thwarted by Ren Sinclair and Lola Vice before the break. That meant it was all about Gray and Natty in the second half, culminating in an abrupt shades of gray to put Natty away. Natty was the perfect first challenger for Kendall. The outcome never in doubt, but they had a really good main event that set the tone for Kendall's reign going forward. Natty and Ms. Parker faced off while Natty was walking off afterward, making it clear they have unfinished business and will meet in a rematch sooner rather than later. And the show closing visual of Lola Vice, Callie Armstrong, and Kalani Jordan scouting Kendall Gray from different sides of the ring was cheesy, but at least it established who's waiting in the wings for an opportunity at Kendall Gray in the NXT Women's Championship. Solid 3 stars for the main event. MF, Kendall does it again. First title defense out of the way.
Agreed. 3 stars. I thought she looked amazing in the ring. Didn't look like she was nervous in the moment. Going up against Natty and Natalya or Natty, she looked at she has always been the consummate professional. She showed it again in this match. Definitely the right outcome was for her to successfully defend the title. We already got 3 ready and willing and able challengers. So yeah, the title reign of Kendall Gray is going to look very good. So, the prospects are all there. So, yeah, solid. 3. Anthony, go.
All right. Overall thoughts here. If I had to put a letter grade on this show, it would be that of a C plus. I thought it was a C plus show tonight. Based on what we've seen on NXT the last 2 weeks, the women's division will likely be what carries NXT through Heat Wave at the end of August. The NXT Women's Championship picture in particular is stacked, and the Women's North American Championship scene is heating up as well. We briefly heard from Naraku in vignette form during this episode, but there wasn't much progression with the NXT Championship stuff otherwise. None of the backstage segments we got with the men were all that compelling either. Despite this being a taped show, it was certainly eventful thanks to the 2 number 1 contenders matches, and both of those bouts were fun. The Women's Championship main event was the highlight of the night from an in-ring standpoint and was wisely saved for last. NXT TV is far from must-see right now, but the building blocks are there for something special. It was an adequate episode that featured a few key developments, but also unfortunately kept certain storylines going that have no business being extended. I'm going to give this an excess of 6.5 to 7 out of 10 from me. So give me 6.5 to 7. MF, your thoughts on NXT tape show tonight?
Yeah, it was about 7. I thought it was a fine show. Yes, it was a tape, so we're not gonna go too wild about it. It like I said, fine for what it was worth. But like, you got final say tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this 6.5 to 7 as well. I mean, you guys pretty much said everything, so let's put a bow on the show and set up the future content, Florio.
All right. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe there will, for yet again, we will not have another edition of TXN Sports World MF, or what do we got going on?
No, no TXN Sports World. Unfortunately, that will not happen. But I do have a programming note. Because of the fact that that Friday Night SmackDown is now back to the 2-hour format, and thanks because of my work commitments, I can please announce, for the time being, on May, I don't know how long this is going to be, but for the time, Cerebral Smack Talk will be shown Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Immediately after SmackDown goes off the air,
Nice.
We will go live on Fridays. So up until once the NFL season starts, then we'll move it to Saturday, and it may go back to 10:30. But for the time being, we will go live at 10 p.m. starting this Friday night. So that's the big announcement, Anthony. There is no TXN Sports World. However, don't worry, guys, because we are just a month away from football, and we'll have obviously our college football Thursday, our NFL Fridays, and then of course Cerebral Smack Talk will be back on Saturdays. And I'll keep you posted if that's going to be 10 or 10:30. But right now it looks like it may be 10 o'clock as well. So we'll let you know. But the big announcement, Cerebral Smack Talk Friday night, 10 p.m.
Very good. All right. And on that show, Friday night at 10, we will have TNA Impact and we will have Friday Night SmackDown. Maybe some other stuff. Maybe MF will throw in some Big Three. Maybe he'll throw in some World Cup. I don't know. We'll see. So that's totally up to him, of course. And then next Tuesday, we do it all again. Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw, and NXT. So not much more to say there. So that is it. So until Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace 395, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF, Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom, Michael Bullock, and of course, always and forever, our First Lady, the one and only Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, and our dear friend, Jake Turner, the Trash Panda. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed rest of the week. And until Friday night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here On the Tone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.